So, Karen, I'm going to give you the 5-second. Good evening. It being slightly past 5:30 p.m. on Monday, March 15th, 2021, I call to order this meeting of the Westborough Board of Selectmen. Our agenda this evening is a discussion and vote on winter light display in the downtown area. And at approximately 6 p.m., we will be adjourning to executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with all units. As we're doing this meeting remotely, I'll read the governor's orders. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Westborough Board of Selectmen will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Westborough's website at town.westborough.ma.us. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. Westborough TV's online platforms, including youtube.com/WestboroughTV and westboroughTV.org, or on Charter Channel 192 or Verizon Channel 28. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of Westborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, and so our first item on the agenda is the downtown winter season lighting. So Shelby, you brought forward this with your work not only with the town, but with Rotary Club. So I will hand it over to you for the introduction.
Great, thank you, and good evening to the board and to all those watching. I am happy to welcome fellow Rotarians, Jim O'Connor, Kathy Wilford, and I believe Jeanette McCarthy just joined us as well. Jim will be our presenter for this, and I'll run the slides. So this is a collaborative effort between the Rotary, initiated by the Rotary Club, and Jim will take us through the history of its work with the town and what the proposal is. Okay, so wish me luck with the presentation here. And 1 second. Hang on 1 second. Oops. Of course, I did this behind the screens, right? And we were fine, right? Okay, here we go. You see that?
Starting to, yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, and hopefully that's in presenter mode.
Beautiful.
It is.
All right.
And so, Shelby, you'll be running the slides.
I will, Jim. Yes.
Got it. Yep. Thank you. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity to present to the Board of Selectmen. This is all about our revamping of our downtown winter illumination plan, and so we'll take you through that, through the issues that we've dealt with, and I think we've got a brighter horizon on the other side. So next slide, please. So some background. The Rotary Club has been in town for 50 years. And for the entire time, we have, as one of our special features, been involved in the illumination of downtown during the holiday period, and we've lit the streets, both West Main Street, part of East Main Street and South Street, as well as the Rotary traffic circle. as many people know over time. We've also provided for the children, especially, and for the families involved. With Santa Claus's arrival, we make a big deal about it. We do a countdown as Santa's sleigh, which is donated by Harvey, Jim Harvey, mounted on a flatbed truck provided by the DPW. It's a big deal. I'm sure you've seen it. And we count down and light the lights all at the same time. Santa Claus does this thing, and everyone has a great time. And that has been the modus operandi for well over 50 years, it seems, and it is well ingrained. Next slide, please. But things have changed over time. The downtown area has seen much more traffic. DPW has a lot more on their plate. The trees have grown, and the equipment needed have gone from simple ladders and hooks where the Rotarians would hang the lights. Even DPW is challenged with its bucket truck to get into the top reaches of the large trees in the center of the Rotary. The result is some inconsistencies with regard to changing out of lights, doing administration, doing service repair. Some of the lights don't match. Some of the lights are perhaps sagging, and it's at the end of the day, it's a result that we, the Rotary, don't like, and we've already heard from a lot of the townsfolk through social media, and they don't like it either. So we're on the same page. What do we do about it? We're taking it in a new direction. Next slide. So what we did was we formed a committee, and we said, let's go talk to area towns in the boroughs and around this area, and see what they do, see how a municipality collaborates with service entities, and how they go about bringing a beautiful decoration in the change of the season to their constituents. We also reached out to vendors that are involved in this, and we consulted with 4 vendors, invited them all to come to Westborough to take a tour, to see what we see, and to get an idea of what our grand plan was. Out of the 4, 2 actually accepted our proposal. They came, they walked the ground, they put together their proposals, and submitted price proposals about 4 weeks ago. There is one contractor that has emerged as clearly the best. They're called Christmas Decor. They're located in Spencer, Mass. It's part of a landscaping firm called Arsenal and Son. The nice point about this is we got very close to one of the towns in finding out what they did and trying to replicate what they did, and that was the town of Shrewsbury. They have done a very nice job, absolutely, completely illuminating and creating a wonderland in their common area in the center of old Shrewsbury. We liked what they did. They have been very kind and solicitous and helped us along in our thinking, and they're the ones that recommended Christmas Decor. When we said we liked them too, they totally supported the choice. What you get with a vendor in this particular case, or any of the vendors, but Christmas Decor is going to be our vendor of choice. They actually supply the lights based on your specifications. They hang the lights, they install them, they dismantle them. The vendor maintains the lights, they troubleshoot them, no more going up and down ladders and resetting the lights by us, and vendor stores the lights off season. It's a beautiful situation. So with regard to the timeline, it happens that we have initiated a contract. We have not signed it. That's why I'm here talking to you folks right now. and to seek town approval, but we have not signed it yet. But the interest is in sooner as opposed to later, because of one of the decorating ideas that we have is some very nice simulated garland with infused white lights on each of 24 of our beautiful architectural light fixtures on the streets of Westborough. Those are a long lead time item, and so the vendor wants us to try and get him at least a down payment to order those as soon as possible. With that said, our typical turning on of the end of year or the Christmas decorations is November 28th, just after Thanksgiving, prior to Christmas, obviously. And our thought is going into 2022, perhaps turning them off February 11th. But that's a negotiable point. Actually, I found out that the electrical administration of municipalities for special displays has a 90-day limit. So within that 90-day window, we can turn them on, turn them off, and be within mass regulations. Next slide. So the scope of the project is first, there's the three main trees in downtown in the traffic circle. What we propose to do there is from the base up to where the branches start. That's about a 12-foot dimension. We will have them wrapped in white light. Above that, and higher into the tree than previous, will be the same multicolored floodlights that we purchased back in 2020 that didn't work as well as we'd like, because quite simply, we were told straight out by the vendors we didn't put them up high enough. So that's going to be corrected. We'll have white lights below wrapped in the trunk. We'll have multicolored floodlights that we've already purchased, illuminating various colors. They can be programmed into the branches. Also key to this is a blue spruce that's available right at the corner of the rotary. I'm sure you all know what it is. It's been kind of raggedy of the last couple of years. This will be festooned with 400 multicolored C9 lights. So that's, and then the third piece is what I talked about. I think it's a very nice look. I think it'll work out well. It's a simulated garland with embedded, infused with white lights that we would propose to wrap 6 feet up the light fixtures that are available on our streets right now, and finished off with a colored bow, some kind of a festive color, whether it's white, red, blue. Basically, the choice is ours and yours, but whatever. This is really the three legs of the stool here as far as our plan going forward. It is a 3-year plan. We've got a 3-year plan. This is phase 1. It could be expanded. We've got various ideas, but I wanted to stick with what we've got. What we've got available now. We've got it priced out. The entire quantity is known, and we've got a vendor willing to do business with us on this basis. This shows you, this is a sketch done by the vendor after he's walked the ground, but this gives you an idea. The little circles are the actual architectural overhead lights that are in place right now. This rotary is obviously right there. The three trees, large deciduous trees, are shown. The spruce tree is a triangle over in the corner. And this is basically the layout. So coming into town, coming out of town, whether by way of Main Street or South Street, the illuminations will be apparent to all coming to town center. So we like to just kind of outline some responsibilities. And the rotary responsibility will obviously be, well, not obvious, but we're saying we're entering a contract with a vendor. Now, to make it sustainable and buildable for future expansion, we will fundraise. We've already started our work on figuring out how that will work and who we will seek funds from. But we'll also possibly want to put a banner across Main Street, especially with regard to the initiation of this to get everyone excited. We will coordinate the installation as necessary with DPW assistance. There will still be some assistance there, and I'm sure they'll work with us. And also the rec department as we get further involved in maybe an expansion of the village stroll, as they call it, and some other aspects. We will be mindful of what their needs might be. We'll coordinate with the police as far as the pole wrapping. There may be some traffic mitigation that would be necessary if that's going on. And certainly we would provide insurance and indemnification of the town through the vendor, make sure that you're held harmless for the installation and the dismantling process. So the proposed responsibilities of the town, what we have it's a particular situation that involves the traffic circle, the rotary traffic circle. There is a very large floodlight, as everyone knows, that perpetually keeps the flag, which flies day and night, keeps it illuminated in the evening. That's absolutely essential. We understand that. But there's apparatus that can be made, produced, or bought to take that beam of light and focus it. And sometimes the shroud will come up 4 feet, 5 feet, somewhere in between. That's yet to be decided. But the focusing of that beam on the flag and not diffusing all over the traffic circle is absolutely a necessary component to make the other lighting that we're planning pop out and look beautiful. The blue spruce needs to be trimmed. That needs a haircut bad. Every time we've worked in the area of the traffic circle, cars coming around the traffic circle, taking a left and cutting right across the pedestrian walkway. If you would imagine from the traffic circle, crossing the street to the Cork and Grain liquor store, there's been some close calls, and we think that pruning out that tree will not only help with the line of sight and drivers and the protection of pedestrians, but it will also make for a much better trim for the tree. Once we put 400 lights on it, it will absolutely look beautiful. Of course, we ask you for the permission to wrap the 24 light poles with our, as we say, with our simulated garland and embedded lights. That's essential. Continue to provide electricity at each pole, and there's a plug-in available at the pole, which makes it a nice clean installation. And then obviously continue providing electricity for the spruce tree and the other large deciduous trees that will be wrapped on the trunk as we go forward, and the floodlighting. From an optional basis, we would like your consideration when we're talking about police details. I don't think it'll be onerous. It will be very specific. It will be closely watched and managed, but we would appreciate some kind of a budget for police details available to us. And electrical improvements in the traffic circle, we've seen close up. We've actually had some discussions with your new electrical engineer that's been added to the DPW staff. We've talked with Chris Pant. He knows what we're talking about. There's some wires that could use some help, some grounding that may be necessary. As the cable comes out of the ground in its buried state and comes up the tree, there's some work that needs to be done to secure those wires. and everyone knows about it. We're just putting it out there as something that would be nice to do. And then what we'd ask you for is consideration of the banners that are on each of the nice street lights that currently right now has got an American flag on it. If we could have that space during the periods of illumination to put and it would be at our expense, to put a banner there that would have a nice holiday theme, but also would give credit to any citizen, business, small or large, that would like to donate to help that tree stay lit for a given holiday season. And those would be rotated depending on who that is and what time frame it is. So we'd consider we'd need that help as well. So any questions? How can I be of assistance?
Okay, thank you very much. I'll open it up to the board for questions. Can unmute or wave.
I guess, Ellen, just want to make sure I start sharing. Is that what we did?
Yes.
You stop sharing.
Thank you.
Patrick.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for doing this. It's been an enjoyable festive activity since my kids were little. I've enjoyed it for nearly 40 years. So thank you for the Rotary Club for continuing to do this. I guess just a couple of quick questions. First of all, I just want to make sure I'm clear. On all the light poles, the 24 light poles, is the power already provided that you need? Is there an outlet there for you to plug into?
Yes, it is. Now, there may be a little bit of tinkering with the dusk to dawn feature, okay. But yes, AC power is there, and all we need is right there.
Okay. And then on the Rotary itself, the power you mentioned with the conduit coming out of the ground and whatnot, is that something that you're looking for the town to help with putting in or repairing?
Yeah, we're asking for that consideration, and we've already talked to the folks who probably can do something very nicely with it. And I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's a monumental task, but it's kind of a safety and a nicety of wire trim just to make it top notch.
Terrific. And I guess my last question is there an opportunity for the community at all to talk about like what type of lights or how is the Rotary looking at like, for example, I know that there's a variety of different colors of lights that are used now throughout the time, colder, lights versus warmer lights. Right. How are you all kind of looking at that and thinking about that?
That's a good question. What we want to do is approach this from a very conventional and a nostalgic look. The look that we're going after, especially with the lighting of the street lights, with the wrapping of the garland, is a kind of an old-fashioned New England look. We wanted to start with that. We wanted to get back to basics and start with that. But we can get a little funky, okay, with the floodlights that can be programmed to change color. Now that didn't have its day in 2020. That kind of it was announced and kind of fell flat on its face. Once we do this properly and uplight them and mount them further in the tree, I think we can use this for a number of different holidays. So we'll get at that in that fashion.
In answer to your question, Patrick, over the years, we've had a series of opinions as to whether to use the bright white or the more muted yellow light. I think the consensus from the community already has been the softer and not the bright. So when we spoke to the vendor, we spoke in terms of the softer lights. I think that was what you were asking.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand
the community doesn't hesitate to give us opinions. Don't worry.
Very good. I just wanted to understand how you guys were going about that, but it sounds like you already got a lot of great feedback, and it sounds like you're headed the right way.
And Patrick, we hope to evolve it further, and we'll reach out and get opinions. Obviously, we don't want to go down a dark alley and mess up.
Sure.
this is an evolutionary process. So
Sure.
we'll be reaching out to
It's going to look great. The pictures you guys put up there in the slide presentation really were very nice. So
Yeah, we're excited.
I'm excited about it.
We started with a phase one that we felt was something that we could fundraise relatively easily. These lights, by no means are inexpensive. It is a annual cost. It is not a 3-year cost it is a 3-year cost we're looking at, but each year it's an annual amount of money we have to fundraise. So by doing it in phases and growing it, we can add on and we can go with it. Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you. Excited to see how it comes out.
Thank you.
Okay, Ian, Sean, Shelby, any questions? Ian?
Thank you, Alan, and Jim and others. Thank you for the presentation. The question, I may have missed it, but going with the poles, I love the idea. It's not the trees that we've done in the past, so I'm assuming we may get comments on that, because I think you're absolutely right that we get comments on everything. So thinking behind that is really substituting the poles versus the trees. Is that
Right.
accurate?
Well, the other thing too is each of the vendors suggested some serious pruning of all of the trees before we could put lights on them. The best that we could do in the condition the trees are in now is possibly a trunk wrap. And we just thought the garland on the poles would have a much more classy look to it. Classic look. So down the road, it's not impossible to light them. It's just that we're going to have help from the town in getting those trees pruned up so that the vendor can work with them. So it's not that we didn't want to and we didn't look at it. It's that
That could be an expansion for another time
Yeah.
as we try and build up. But
Great.
Yeah, and it was significantly more expensive. So I think for phase one, we thought that the light poles were a good start, and we could see how much we can fundraise in a year, and then possibly add the trees if that's something we think we can fund.
Yeah.
Perfect. Second, I think the more comment than a final question. I think the request for the signs makes sense. I think that helps with fundraising too, that people put in that. So I think that's a great idea. So thanks for bringing that forward. And I guess this is my final question, actually to Christy. I guess Christy and Kim, anything we need to think about from the town side in terms, I know the Rotary's contracting, but is there anything from our side, or are we part of the contract, or anything we need to consider in terms of that?
So we're not a party to the contract. It would just be between the Rotary and the vendor. And so the board would vote tonight to accept the gift of the holiday lighting from the Rotary as presented. And then before the lights are installed, we would create some sort of license agreement with the Rotary so that they could put all the lights up, and then that would require, as Jim described, some indemnification and insurance from the club and the vendor.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Now that's all I had. Just a final comment. I think it's great. Thank you for all the work you've done in the past. It's something that's special about Westborough. So,
well, when it's working, it's great.
Yeah.
So we're tacking back into the win. It's going to be good.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ian. Sean?
Well, I would say just briefly, thank you very much. I know there's a lot of pent-up demand to get back out, and I think this is going to make the downtown area very attractive, I think, for this coming Christmas season and stuff. So, I think the questions have been covered, and, I'm very supportive of this. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Shelby, one?
Yeah, I just want to, I think I want to stress one of the important parts is the installation of the shield around that spotlight, because I think as we saw this year, even though the LED lights were not high enough. We learned that through this process. It is critical that that shield be installed. And again, I want to assure the board that it's not going to detract from the light on the flag, which obviously is a constant and needs to be there out of respect for the flag, but that is something that does need to be done and installed. And at the end of the day, I think it will be, an improvement, to our existing rotary and, allow for the use of the LED lights, as Jim mentioned, for other purposes, 4th of July or whatever, however the town determines that. So I do want to make sure that as we determine our vote tonight, that is understood as part of the commitment.
I guess I would just add that, we don't know how much that's going to cost. And so, as the DPW looks into it, it might, I don't know how much it could cost. I mean, Shelby and I talked about it. It doesn't seem like it would be very expensive, but if it is, it could be something that you see come to town meeting potentially, but I don't expect it to be that much. But I just want to put out there that this isn't something that we know what the cost of it is yet. So,
Well, I guess I'd like to say that we as Rotary are willing to work with the town on that. I don't know what the limit is for having to go to town meeting, but if we can handle it, within budget or with minor assistance from us, we should try to not hold it up at town meeting, because it does have a huge impact on the effect that the lights will have going, for that. So I think we had talked to somebody at one point, and it was, I don't even want to say, I want to say it wasn't even $500.
Yeah, I think that's what we anticipated. We just don't know yet. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to thank the board for hearing this tonight, particularly on an off-cycle meeting, given the time frame and being able to get back to the vendor. So thank you.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much for that. We, as a club, will be discussing it further too at our next board meeting as well. So.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Shelby. I guess for my comments, I think it's a great idea. I appreciate the Rotary Club of Westborough being creative and looking for new solutions. Understanding that there is some cost that the town will incur. Given that there's some maintenance that's required for the electric and the lighting that's there already. I guess my feeling is I don't expect it to be that much, or something that we wouldn't end up necessarily doing at some point in the future anyways, or within the scope of that kind of work. And certainly if there is a cost and Rotary is willing to assist with some of that, again, not knowing how much it's going to cost, but not expecting that it would require us to have a warrant article at town meeting. Very supportive of that. So, any other questions?
I do want to say too, on the Rotary, we fully anticipate the menorah going up for the season then. Exactly where it is, we're not changing anything in that respect for the Rotary.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay, so at this point, with questions answered and some good discussion, we will entertain a motion to accept the gift of holiday lighting as presented this afternoon by the Rotary Club of Westborough, and further to authorize the town manager to enter into an appropriate license agreement.
Well, I'll make that motion. I'd be happy to.
So moved.
Thanks, Shelby.
Do we have a
Second.
Okay, so we have a second as well. Any further discussion? Okay, as we are in remote meeting, we'll do a roll call vote for the motion. Sean?
Keough, yes.
Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Ian?
Johnson, yes.
Patrick?
Welch, yes.
And Edinburgh, yes. So the motion passes on a vote of 5-0-0, 5 being present.
Excellent. Thank you.
And the Rotary Club thanks you very much.
Okay, and we thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.
You
And
too.
look forward to a very festive and beautifully lit and celebratory downtown this coming winter.
Don't set the bar too high.
It's going to be
You're
great.
starting to get me nervous. No, we'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so do I have a motion for entering into executive session?
You do. I'll move to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with all unions.
Okay, any discussion?
I'll
Hearing
second the
none.
motion.
Oh, sorry, thank you, Shelby. Moved and seconded. Not seeing any discussion. A quick roll call vote. Sean,
Keo, yes.
Ian,
Johnson, yes.
Patrick,
Welch, yes.
Shelby,
Marshall, yes.
and Edinburgh, yes. So by a vote of 5-0, we'll be moving into executive session. As chair, I determine that public discussion of the items would be detrimental to our negotiating position, and we will not be returning into open public session following executive session.
So thank you, Westborough TV.
Yes, thank you, Westborough TV.